We're offering this Women's Empowerment Conference, Make Them Hear You, in the spirit of Jane Garcia, our sister, a Latino leader who is not only providing leadership in Southwest Detroit, she's providing leadership around the country on behalf of our sisters who need support, who need respect, who are demanding immigration rights, who are demanding that issues be at the foremost for the Latino community. We are demanding that all of those issues that are important to women not be on the back burner but on the front burner, and that's why we're hosting this Women's Empowerment Conference. We're offering this Women's Empowerment Conference in the honor of Queen Mother Helen Moore, who has spent her life fighting for educational rights, academic inclusion, access and inclusion for children throughout this community with Black Parents for Quality Education. As a co-founder of Keep the Vote No Takeover, Queen Mother Helen Moore is one of those in the spirit of, in the honor of, who is a great vitalizing force for this women's conference. We're also offering this in honor of Betty Shabazz, Mama Betty Shabazz, the widow of Malcolm X, El-Haj Malik Shabazz, whose family came from Detroit. Longtime members of Bethel AME on Warren and St. Antoine. Betty Shabazz, whose last public appearance was at Malcolm X Academy in Detroit, as she urged all the leaders at this school to make sure the children at the school had a chance to go to Africa. She said, don't just be African-centered, take these babies to Africa. We honor this wonderful woman whose life was dedicated to our people as one of the women in the spirit of this conference. We offer this conference in the honor of Queen Mother Imani Humphrey, co-founder of the Adasi organization and the founder of the Aisha Shule School and the W.B. Du Bois Preparatory School. Queen Mother Imani Humphrey, an honored member of the Detroit Council of Elders. We offer this conference in honor of the Honorable Claudia House Morcom. Claudia House Morcom, a retired judge in the city of Detroit, but a judge whose righteous works are known around the globe. She who was on that legal force to support Ben Chavis in the Wilmington 10, who was on the legal team to support Angela Davis, who is a founding member of the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, and was in the law firm, the first integrated law firm in this country. The Honorable Claudia House Morcom, who just this year has been taking trips to Cuba to stand up for Cuban 5 and to stand for our people, to make sure that our young people can have access to medical degrees in Cuba for free tuition, free lodging. We honor the Honorable Claudia House Morcom, one of the women in whose spirit and in whose honor we're sponsoring this Women's Empowerment Conference. We lift up Sister Aneb, Dr. Gloria House, who's a member of the wonderful team of African American leadership at University of Michigan Dearborn, formerly with Wayne State University Africana Studies. She's a Pan-Africanist, a nationalist, and one of the original SNCC members from Detroit. She was one of those who stood tall with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and was there when there was activity going on from Montgomery to Selma. She was there when there was activity going on in the South to help our people with voting rights and with housing rights. We honor Sister Aneb, Dr. Gloria House. We lift up Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, who was a personal friend and colleague with Eleanor Roosevelt, who advised presidents like President Roosevelt, who was one who founded the National Council of Negro Women, who founded the Bethune-Cookman School, and one who worked very closely with all of the leaders around the world in order to put forth the United Nations Human Rights Decree. We lift up Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. We lift up Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, who was mentored by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, who just recently joined the Ancestors, who was a magnificent president of the National Council of Negro Women, a very strong national president of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, and one like her predecessor. She advised presidents. It's said that once she called President Bush in the middle of the night. The only person I know who could have called President Bush, George W. Bush, at 2 a.m. and he picked the call up. She had some concerns about the Iraq War and she wanted to tell him personally, Dr. Dorothy Irene Height. Now we're offering this wonderful women's conference in the spirit of Ida B. Wells, that great Ida B. Wells, journalist, activist, advocate, one of the co-founders of the NAACP. We're offering this women's conference in the spirit of the Honorable Mary Ann Mahaffey, President Emeritus of the Detroit City Council, a magnificent drum major for peace and justice and freedom and dignity, representing women in the city of Detroit. We're offering this Women's Empowerment Conference in the spirit of the Honorable Irma L. Henderson, President Emeritus of the Detroit City Council, founder of the Equal Justice Council, founder of the Women's Conference of Concerns, a woman who spent her entire life lifting up women in organized labor and making sure that women had access and women had inclusion. We offer this Women's Empowerment Conference in the spirit of Olga Madar, a great woman leader of the UAW, United Auto Workers, and one who spent her life standing up for women in organized labor. We offer this wonderful Women's Empowerment Conference on March 17th, 2012 at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center in the Irma L. Henderson Auditorium in the spirit of Mother Rosa Parks, the mother of the civil rights movement, who spent more time in Detroit, Michigan than she spent in Montgomery, Alabama. Mother Rosa Parks, a legendary leader for such a time as this. We offer this Women's Empowerment Conference in the spirit of Grace Lee Boggs. Dr. Grace Lee Boggs, in her 9th decade, still writing and carrying on the torch for leadership and advocacy for our people. We offer this empowerment conference in the spirit of Roberta Huerta, who stood with the significant movement of Cesar Chavez to make sure that our brothers and our sisters in the Latino community were treated with respect and dignity and not treated as if they were third-class citizens. We offer this wonderful women's conference in the spirit of Wilma Mankiller, the only woman chief of the Cherokee Nation, a magnificent woman whose voice boomed like drum beats in the Native community and one who continues to beat the drum for justice today. We offer this Women's Empowerment Conference in the spirit of Marion Kramer, who, with all of the women in the welfare rights organizations, have demanded justice, have demanded equity, and have demanded respect for the least of these. A woman who has spent her entire life working in Highland Park and Detroit, fighting for women and girls and those who are have-nots. We praise God for all of the women: Ida B. Wells, Mary Ann Mahaffey, Irma L. Henderson, Mother Rosa Parks, Dr. Grace Lee Boggs, Olga Madar, Roberta Huerta, Jane Garcia, Wilma Mankiller, Marion Kramer, Queen Mother Helen Moore, Betty Shabazz, Queen Mother Monty Humphrey, Claudia Morcom, Sister Annette, Dr. Gloria House, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, and all of you. In the spirit of women, make them hear you.